Got it away from me. The distance, it's social. You're reaching from a 6 feet deep. That luck, you bleed. Not some kind of new disease. You're coughing and you're talking with your chest out tight. Walking like a zombie with your bloodshot eyes. Think you're feeling fine, but slowly creeping in. The tube illuminates the room and snoozes morning day. Go! Social, reaching from its 6 feet deep. Oh yeah! Gotta get away from me. 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 You got it, don't want it. Gotta get away from me. The distance, it's social. You're reaching from a 6 feet deep. You got it, don't want it. Gotta get away from me. The distance, it's social. You're reaching from a 6 feet deep. Oh yeah! Gotta get away from me. 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 You gotta get away. Gotta get away. Gotta get away. Now bring the earth. If you bring the fire, smoke through that water. The air gazes higher. So push through that crowd, right to that stage. My soul's on fire. My heart's engaged. Let's go.
Hi, and welcome back to DBU. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. So I have with us here today a local San Diego band that's been around and is quite the band. Their name is the Resonators. And part of the group here, we've got Brock, the drummer. We have Kevin, who plays bass. And then last but not least, Kyle, who plays guitar and does the vocals. Actually, I think you all sing.
We all sing a little bit.
So I got a couple of questions for you guys. The first question, so for those of you out there in TV land that don't know these guys, you two are brothers. Is that right?
That's right. Correct.
So when you guys were growing up, who beat up who the most?
I guess I wailed on Kevin. I don't know. We always had I don't know why, but our parents, we convinced them to get us boxing gloves when we were kids, and we used to just go at each other for a while. But for the most part, we were always good friends, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who's the oldest of the two?
I am, by 3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he does have you beat.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Nowadays, who knows, though?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wow, we got to get those boxing gloves.
Yeah,
for you, man.
yeah, it's true.
He could probably take me out.
Well, that's part of aging. Is it gets great until it's not great anymore. That's how it is with my little brother.
You hit the tipping point.
Hard for me to roll out of bed sometimes, so.
So the question I have then, of the two of you, which of you two started playing music first?
That was Kyle. Yeah.
It was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I just started playing. Well, even younger, my mom taught piano, and
Oh, that's cool.
so she tried to get me to play piano, but I fought that pretty hard. And it wasn't until I feel like middle school or beginning of high school when I started playing guitar, mostly. Just influence, I think, from my dad, and my older brother used to play in a.
So there's a third
band.
one.
There's a third one. There's an older brother too, and he was in a band. Well, when I was growing up, that was very influential on me and Kevin too.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was till I moved back to Eugene when Kevin was about 18, and that he started playing the bass.
Started picking up the bass.
Well, that was my next question, Kevin. Why the bass and not guitar?
Well, they needed a bassist.
So just utility.
He was in a band that was a 4-piece. They needed a bassist to join, and I was living with him at the time, and so he was very adamant that I start playing bass. And if I have any advice for anyone who wants to get good at bass, hop in a band that knows what they're doing and try to keep up.
It's good advice.
Yeah,
Jump in the fire.
Jump in the fire. Yeah, just start going.
Right in the deep end. Yeah.
So, and then Brock, I know that as a drummer, I mean, you're just outstandingly good. So when did you start playing?
I got my first drum kit when I was on my 12th birthday. My grandfather bought it for me, but I was in the middle school band, and I would go in early in the mornings, and all the 8th graders would come in early, and they were only allowed to play the drum set.
Yeah.
And so I would come in early, and then I would get there earlier before them and just steal the drum kit for them. And they would come in and, like, throw me off the drum kit. They're like, get this little freak out of here. So I've been playing the drum set since I was, like, Well, I guess I got my set when I turned 13, actually.
Okay.
But when I was 12, I was playing the drum kit at the school, yeah.
Yeah, it shows. Your skills are really good. And you hit hard, which is actually the toughest thing I run into as a producer.
I hear that all the time.
It's like you get a guy who's like, it's like, dude, you don't understand. The tone comes from the impact on the drum.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't come from the mixing console. I mean, it can, but you want it to work, you got to hit the drums. So I want to ask you guys a question about this live to 2-track experience that we did here. Was this the first time you've recorded something live to 2-track?
Yes, to 2-track. We've done some in-studio live recordings, but nothing like this where everything's like cemented in before we take that first take.
Well, that was my question. In what way
There's always some sort of editing process, I feel like, afterwards.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Nothing is like straight off the board like what you've done here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it was kind of not flying by the seat of your pants as much as it was flying by the seat of your pants until you're caught in a net, and then they get you untangled and help you
I think
finish
for
it.
anything, it was more like pressure on you, to make sure the levels are correct before you hit play. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I think for me, like tracking the guitar, I'm thinking a lot I'm thinking a lot more than I normally would, I guess, about just like each part, because I do have this one take. So it's like, okay, this is the part that's coming up.
Yeah.
What am I doing
Here
for
comes a
sure?
solo, here comes a solo,
here comes
here
a
comes a
solo.
solo.
Like clean strums, clean like hits, you know, like really thinking about, which sometimes,
And the pedals too.
yeah,
Like,
which
gotta hit it
sometimes
at the
makes
right
it
time.
harder, because it's better sometimes to not have that pressure. You're just going and flowing, but sometimes it's having that pressure is a little harder. But then when in return you know exactly what you're doing, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the downside of a live to 2 track is you have to know what you're gonna play. It's really hard to go out and improv. I mean, I could see jazz guys and maybe a couple of blues guys doing it because they're following a formula or some sort of a formula. But when you're trying to do a pop rock influenced recording where there is a specific set thing and you're expected to nail it that way every time, you got to get it right, and you have 3 or 4 or 5 people that have to get it right at the same time, which is what makes the whole process of doing that tricky. And as you pointed out, it's not just on you, it's on the engineer as well to get it right, because if I flub up something, it ruins your perfect take. So we're all sort of dependent on each other's skill sets.
Same page for sure.
Well, and it does kind of stand out because on this particular session, there was one song that we attempted to record that we couldn't do it because we blew your vocal out. Do you want to talk about that song and what happened with that?
Well, it was a cover we were doing that we do a lot live. I don't. I think it was just a full day and just in the studio, your voice gets tired and just pushing it, and we decided to audible it and do another song.
Which I think was funny is because, like you said, you say like on these kinds of things we need to know what we're playing. So when we threw that audible, it was a funk jam. So like we could never play what we recorded twice.
Really funny.
So it was very just like...
Yeah, we play that one live all the time, but every
It's
single
always
time
different.
it's different.
Yeah.
It's longer, it's shorter. It's,
Yeah, so I don't know. The biggest thing I have been thinking about is just how prepared you have to be, I think, in practice and warming up of vocals and just all things, you know, before you hit the studio, because I feel like you only have a certain window of time when you're like prime, and it's hard to overdo it, or it's easy to overdo it. And so I think just me getting more prepared on the outside of things, getting healthy and being, you know, warmed up, I think is a thing that I can always practice at getting better at.
Yeah. Well, and I would be worried if you were not getting better, because then you wouldn't be living. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to get to the goal anyways. Not that you shouldn't try, but as you get better, you're like, oh, I'm still not there yet. And it's like, as you go up, the goal's going up with you, and it just becomes harder and harder.
It's always the problem with an artist, you know?
It is.
Yep.
But that is the benefit of a live to 2-track experience, because it's like, okay, this is very tangible. Like, I have to reach this level because we know we're capable of it individually and collectively. We just have to not F up during the process so that we can, all of us, just get that one perfect take.
I feel like we always come together and pull through under those situations. So
Well, and you guys certainly did on this video that we worked on here. It's impressive. And this raw energy that came out was just, it's great. And I'm really proud of what you guys were able to do. And hopefully your fans and viewers will respect it as well. So I'm going to throw a couple of quick questions at you just to get your reactions. Worst record ever?
Worst record ever.
Worst record ever.
Worst record ever. I wouldn't be listening to it. So I don't know.
it's hard to...
I don't know. Yeah.
Can we come back to that one?
Yeah, sure. All right. Second, this will be
I'm gonna
easier.
think about
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I'd say anything Taylor Swift.
Fair enough. Favorite film?
Oh man, I'm a big Quentin.
Step Brothers.
Favorite.
I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan. I'd say like Django.
That's
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Django.
That is a great movie.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
I like scary movies. I would say this might be show everyone how effed up I am in the head, but Hereditary is probably one of my favorite movies.
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I love that movie.
It's a good movie, but I don't want to watch it.
I just actually watched for the first time ever Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah.
And I
That's
was
great.
I was just like, each scene was so great.
Yeah.
Such a
Martin
original
Scorsese.
gangster movie.
Yeah.
You know? So I really enjoyed that. I like those movies that are just like, I feel like scene by scene, like iconic.
Yeah.
You know. So that
That's
was
a good choice.
Goodfellas was a good one. Yeah.
Favorite San Diego band? Trick
A
question.
lot.
San Diego band.
Ease Up is one of my favorite ones. What we
Are
played
they
with
San Diego?
Antone. I think so.
They're
I guess
Orange
remember
County.
at Orange
Yeah,
County.
Orange.
I guess that would be Tomorrow's Bad C2. Favorite San Diego band. Modern History is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
If you ever
Haven't heard
listen-
'em.
They're a great rock band.
What's that band we played out at the Harding's place?
The groovy rock band.
Oh, Band of Gringos is
Yeah,
great.
Band of Gringos is
Band
groovy.
Gringos,
Totally.
yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of people in the scene coming up right now that are all crazy talented, so it's
Yeah.
hard to pick.
I'm impressed with your humility because I thought you were going to say the Resonators, duh.
No, I can't say that.
So, as far as the favorite San Diego band, that's great. I love it. But let's go back to the question asked a minute ago before we wrap, which is worst record ever. You said maybe Taylor Swift.
Whatever.
I've heard a lot of them, by the way. But
I think for me, like, what comes up is like bands that I completely respect, and then they come out with that one bummer record that's just like, oh man, you the bet on that one. You know, your favorite band's not coming with it.
Oh,
you know?
Mainstream Sellout, Machine Gun Kelly.
okay, that's valid. That's valid.
It's probably some trash. I've never listened to it.
I tried. I didn't get the whole way.
I was always pretty pissed that when you got your iPhone, that they would
Oh, that
You
stupid
too.
they would
Songs of
give you
Innocence.
without like it would just included that U2 album. I
Yeah.
forget what it was, and I like never wanted it on there. I mean, U2's okay. It's not like the worst, but it would suck being like on shuffle on your phone, and then this song came up, and you're like, what is this? I don't remember putting this song on here, and they would just Apple would just make you listen to that album.
There goes Apple.
There's a lot of terrible 80s records, I feel like.
There's a lot of
wasn't a big fan of that gated, you know,
Oh, the
snare.
Phil Collins
The Phil
drums.
Collins, yeah. Everyone was like, well, that's what we're going to do now. Every single record that comes out is like,
That was
That snare. Yeah.
That was a thing.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah.
Phil Collins and Hugh Padgham put that
Thanks,
thing
Phil
together for
Collins.
us. Yes. Those two guys made that happen.
He doesn't like Steely Dan.
Yeah.
oh, no, it's too late.
Yeah, that's so
Really?
on the previous video I asked the same question and they didn't have an answer and I said for me it would be anything put out by Steely
Even
Dan.
Asia, you don't like Asia?
I just you know what it
don't
is?
like- Even like the sound quality, like the
No,
depth of
so
it?
to be clear, musically, it's brilliant.
It's their voices,
Performance-wise, I can't stand the voices. And then you got
I
Michael
know, I know.
McDonald.
Yeah, Meg
I
McDonald's.
cannot stand Michael McDonald. I
I'm the
hate
same
him.
way. I'm the same when I hear.
It's
I
like
don't notice it in the background because I know he just did backup vocals.
I can't
but it's
handle Michael McDonald. And then was it Donald Fagen? I think was their lead
think so,
singer.
yeah.
I couldn't handle the either of them. So I think if you took those two people out and put in like Axl Rose, it'd be like, this was pretty good.
Sweet.
I don't
Put
think
some
you can
Don
pull it
Henley
off.
in there. I
Yeah,
feel
Don
like.
Henley.
Yeah,
So
that's sweet.
Don
it's not
Henley's
that I.
voice,
In fact, I mean, this is of course now I'm turning the interview about you to me, but so like a good example is I can't stand Karen Carpenter. I don't like the Carpenters, but she's an incredible singer.
Yeah.
And I was actually having a discussion a couple weeks ago with somebody about my visceral hatred towards the Carpenters, and someone's like, "Dude, what did your mom molest you to that song or something?" And I was like, "No, but it does remind me of my mom, and I have really distinct and favorable memories of my mom. But something about that song and that era, just I hear it and I'm like, no, that's way too goopy and way too syrupy for my taste. I can't handle her.
Yeah.
Their music is great.
Yeah. Well, that's the awesome thing about music is it's so subjective. You know.
Totally.
You can't really judge someone for what they enjoy if it brings them them happiness. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're totally
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And I think Steely Dan is like that. So
Yeah,
I think that if I heard a Steely Dan song covered by a band that I respected, I'm like, oh, that's a great song.
Or
so,
I mean, like the Bee Gees for me is like I feel like I laugh every time I hear one of their tracks. Like it's so great, like in disco, like I get that time, but like I just think about these guys singing that song and just. you know, and I you know, and it just makes me laugh. But it's great. But I think about that Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake doing that. Yeah. And I just think about that every time. So it's funny. I think these songs and bands sometimes just get so overplayed that it's like hard, or you've heard it in so many movies, so many commercials.
Right.
It's hard to like not think about.
It's a parody of itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, that would be my Steely Dan thing. And I made an apology to my crew, or, you know, followers last week. Like, I'm sorry, don't hate me because I freaking said...
out. Don't like Steely Dan.
But it's just not, it's not my flavor. I don't own a Steely Dan record. I respect the people that worked on it. In fact, I've met some of them over the years, and I certainly wouldn't admit to them that I didn't like it. But it's just, it's not my flavor. That's all.
That's all right.
Parting thoughts for the viewers. Anything you want to say? Obviously, you need to plug your website and your Instagram so they know how to find your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. www.theresonators.com. That's Resonators with an I.
Instagram at the Resonators Music.
That's right.
Yeah. Expect new music soon. We're doing a lot of work. We've been putting a lot of work into the studio, and we're really excited to show you.
DBU Studios, check it out. It's an incredible space.
You guys gotta come check out the spot.
Incredible space, incredible light, incredible vibe to it. So come on out.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you coming and playing. It was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. And to the cameras and the fans and the followers, I appreciate you guys viewing. Thanks again for coming back. There will be more episodes to come. Stay tuned. Cheers.
Cheers. Woo.